god, it's so nice to be on my feet. Hey everyone, it's me, Catherine, and it's been a little while. It's also been a while since I've had like all this space, because before, when I was filming, I was like in my cramped little box room where I had this. I've had to move around since then, got much more space. I'm not sat down, like I'm on my feet. And it's nice, it's kind of nostalgic because I haven't been able to stand up and film for a long time, and I much prefer, well, not all the time, but like I don't know. Anyway, it's been a while for a few reasons, most of those reasons being captions. I got so behind on captioning my videos, and I like to have my videos captioned, and it was just starting to hit me down. So like I was like, you know what, just stop, catch up on captions, and then get back to it. And here we are. So it's now September, practically October. In fact, by the time this goes up, it will definitely be October, because this is the 30th of September today. There's no way I'm editing this, uploading it, and getting captions done today. So it will be October by the time this goes up. And I'm going to do a recent reads. And by recent reads, I mean everything I've read since January. So 9 months worth of reading, which, don't worry, it's only 7 books. And 2 of those I'm not even going to really talk about, because 2 of the books, in fact we'll start off now, 2 of the books, the D&D Player's Handbook and the DM's Guidebook, because I got it in my head partway through the year that I wanted to like I had an idea, and I was like, ooh, what if I could build a campaign from this? I have played D&D probably a total of 3-4 times. 2 different characters. Neither of those times did we get past 2 sessions, 2-3 sessions, I don't think, for like varying different reasons. So I've very limited experience with D&D, but I had this idea, I was like, ooh, I could build a campaign from this. So I started reading the handbooks, the guides. Have I finished that? No, but like I got a start on it, and then I got distracted by something else because so that's 2 of the books. So they're sort of like very different from the rest. So January, let's cast our minds back all the way to January, which feels like simultaneously like it was 5 minutes ago and also a million years ago. So let's have a look. What was it called? I think it's called She Gets the Girl. It was an audiobook I borrowed from my library. Yeah, She Gets the Girl by Rachel Lippincott and Alison Derrick. I listened to the audiobook and I really enjoyed it. It was like I think like a solid 3 stars. It was about, see if I can remember, don't ask me anybody's name. It's about 2 girls who are starting university. They're about to start their first year of university. One is starting uni to escape an alcoholic mother. Well, I don't necessarily escape, but I guess sort of escape an alcoholic mother, and also with the intention of getting a degree to get a job to earn as much money as possible, regardless of whether that's what she actually wants or not. And she's like a serial flirt. Like she hasn't really committed. And at the start of the book, she's dating this girl. I want to say she's an older girl, and she's like absolutely smitten with her, but I can't quite remember. They basically have a falling out before she goes to uni, and they've all but broken up. And our character, one of our main characters, she's really broken up about this because she actually really, really, really likes this girl. She really likes this girl, and she wants to do everything she can to prove to her that she is committed to this relationship, that she wants to be in this relationship. Completely ignoring or just not recognising some red flags that are already starting to pop up. And our second main character is, I can't remember if she's trying to reinvent herself, but she's basically the quiet girl at school. Nobody really knows her, remembers her. She never really made a point, and she has this massive crush on this girl in her class who's also going to the same uni, and she's sort of I think, don't quote me on this, but I think she wants to use university as a way to sort of get in, try and maybe reinvent herself a little bit, and also start dating her crush. And our 2 main characters meet. It's not a great first meeting. They meet, and then they sort of make an agreement. The serial flirt will help our little wallflower to help her date her crush. Yeah, and I guess, and she's also using that as proof that she is a good person and that she is worthy of the... It would be really helpful if I remembered everyone's names. You know what? Let's look it up, shall we? Let's look it up. Alex is our serial flirt, and Molly, okay. So Alex is going to help Molly date the girl of her dreams, and in doing so, she's going to I don't know if she's going to use it as that to prove that Alex is a good person, that she can be nice, that she can make friends, and things like that. And it's basically it starts off I guess people would class it as an enemies to lovers. I don't particularly, because for me, enemies to lovers is a little more extreme. When I go for enemies to lovers, I want a little more extreme on actual literal enemies, literal on opposite sides of like a thing. Whereas these are just two people that maybe don't like each other that much. And then, you know, as it's going on, romance happens. And it was good. No, I really enjoyed it. Like, it's exactly the dynamic that I enjoy. You know, the sort of like, they're a bit antagonistic towards each other, like, but then they realise that actually that works for them and it's good, and I enjoyed it a lot. And the audiobook was pretty good as well from what I remember. I remember enjoying the audiobook, so that's that. So I did, at the beginning of the year, set out a reading, like a TBR. And on that TBR were some rereads that I had planned, and I managed to do 2 of those. The first one being Sense and Sensibility, which I did actually start either towards the end of last year, at the very beginning of the year, and I finished it. And yeah, it's good, this one, but this one is less a focus on, like, there is romance. I'm not gonna like deny that there is romance, but I think this one is more about family and these 2 sisters who are, I don't want to say after romance, but they're like, one definitely is like a big, huge romantic, and she falls in love, and it, you know, there's problems in there, and it's not necessarily an easy ride for either of them romance wise. Because our main character, Eleanor, everyone believes she's set for marriage. Like, she had a really good relationship with Edward, I think his name was, who is a family friend. Dare I say cousin? I don't think it's cousin. I think, no, it's a brother of their half-brother's wife. So their father has died, is dead before the book starts, basically. And so they have to move because the house has been passed on to their older brother, who is their half-brother, and his wife and kids. I don't know if they have kids. And Eleanor becomes good friends with her sister-in-law's brother. And, like, their family, like, her mum and her sisters all but are convinced that that's going to work out. And there's, like, heartbreak and illness. And there's definitely a lot of drama and a lot of sisters just sort of like looking out for each other, trying to look out for each other, trying to get by, basically. And I definitely could have done a better job at summarising that, but that's Sense and Sensibility. And I reread it, I enjoyed it the first time, and I liked it the second time. Then another reread that was actually planned was Truth Witch, because I want to reread this series in preparation for the newer one that's not new anymore. But that I haven't listened to yet. So I half read this, half listened to it on audiobook. I really enjoyed the audiobook, narrated by Cassandra Campbell, I want to say. I really enjoy her readings of these books. And I just really enjoy this series. Like, Truth Witch, I guess if you don't know, we're following Safi and Iseult. Safi's a Truth Witch, hiding it. She's potentially the only Truth Witch in existence that people aren't aware of. Because Truth Witch who can tell truth from lie is a very wanted thing with, like, people of power and such. So Safi's basically in hiding, in that no one knows she's a Truth Witch. She's just, like, going around, I guess, passing herself off as someone who has no magic. And we have Iseult, her thread sister, who is a thread witch who cannot make, oh god, is it threadstones? Which is like a thing that all thread witches should be able to do. And they're best friends. Best of friends, and they get caught up in all of this bullshit because of Safi's truth witchery. Basically, she gets discovered, or we believe she's discovered, and she runs. She is on the run with Iseult, and a lot of shit happens. And yeah, I really enjoy this series. It's a series I enjoy. I enjoy this series. It is a series I enjoy a lot. I enjoyed, and rereading this, my mind hasn't changed. I enjoyed it just as much as I did the last time I read it, and the time before that I read it. And I just need to get on to Wind Witch, but who knows when that's going to happen, so we'll see. Now onto the unplanned rereads. So recently, I've been on a bit of a sci-fi kick. I've been deep in sci-fi. Like, I even bought myself a little space atlas. I bought myself a space atlas. A used space atlas, so like it's definitely a little out of date. I think it's like 10 years out of date. But yeah, I've just been really, like, I've always had an interest in sci-fi, but I've never really, like, let myself get stuck in with it. I don't know why, because I adore it. I really love space and sci-fi stuff. So I've been on a little sci-fi kick. So I reread Cinder because I have that on Kindle by Marissa Meyer, the first book in the Lunar Chronicles. I have no intention of finishing the series or anything. I don't have any intentions because I enjoyed it the first time I read it, I think, but not... I don't really care for it anymore, but I just kind of had a hankering to reread it, and it was fine. You know what? It was fine. It was fine. If you don't know what Cinder's about, or what the Lunar Chronicles are, they're basically fairy tale retellings. Oh, well, but like all together in one series, one continuous series that's not like companion novels. It's like a full-on story where they're all involved together. And Cinder follows... It's based on Cinderella, and we're following a cyborg who gets caught up in shit. But I was basically rereading it for the vibes because I remember really enjoying the whole vibes of Cinder because it had that sort of like chunky sci-fi aesthetic, which obviously reading it I can't really tell, but like just feeling it, like I know when I say chunky I mean like that, you know, everything's a little clunky. I don't know if it is clunky or if it's like sleek sci-fi, but like I just really enjoy that vibe, and I reread it and you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And then I finished this literally yesterday. I read The City in the City, which isn't sci-fi. I read this before I got stuck into the sci-fi. I was reading this, wanted to read this for a different reason. I got to thinking about something and I was like, you know what? The City in the City has something of a vibe of what I'm looking for here. So I picked that up and I finally finished rereading this yesterday. And I think I enjoyed this more than I did the first time I read it. Like, it's definitely a slow one for one that's so short. Like, it's only until you get to the last, like... Yeah, it's only until you get to, like, these last few pages. Like, it starts here, but then this is where it really gets into it. I think, like, it definitely starts, but it's definitely a slow starter. This is set in a country which is basically two cities occupying the same space. And not in a science-y way, parallel universe kind of way. They are literally occupying the same space. They are, for all intents and purposes, the same city, but only like some buildings are assigned to one city. I don't know how to pronounce all the things, but it's Basel, and Ulquoma. So like some buildings are Ulquoma and the others are it's SZ, and I'm not sure how that works pronunciation wise. I probably should have looked it up. But yeah, they're occupying the same city. So like some of the, like, while some areas of it are wholly one city, some areas are cross. And so you're existing in the same space. It's literally the same street. It's like walking out onto the street, like go out of your house, your home, your flat, and you go out onto the street, and like that street is called one thing, like this is what you know it as, but then other people use it and they call it something else. But you're in the same space, physically, literally on the same street, but you can't acknowledge the people in the other city because that's breach, and you get taken away for that. And I had this idea and I was like, oh, okay, I just want to reread The City in the City to see, just to get a feel for what The City in the City had. And yeah, I enjoyed this a lot more, I think. Like, it's definitely, this is the only China Miéville I've ever read, so I don't know if his writing is always like this, but it's very stop-starty. Like, if that makes sense, like, especially with the dialogue is very, it starts and it's not all complete, like, a lot of it isn't complete sentences. It's just people, like, trailing off and then starting again, and it takes a little while to get into that sort of style. It's a little jarring, definitely, at least at first, anyway. But yeah, so there's basically been, they find a body, a murder has happened, and they don't know if it's breach or they think it's breach. Like, they look into it, they think it's breach, but then it turns out it's not, and they get involved with the other city. And so our main character, Theodore, has to go abroad to Ulquoma to work with their police department to figure this out. And yeah, it turns out it might be a little bit deeper than this, and there's a lot more going on that they hadn't realised, and it's good. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, actually. And once I got stuck into it, it took me a while, once I got stuck into it, I really, really enjoyed it. And that's it. That's my recent reads. That's everything I've read. Well, aside from it's not all I've read. Aside from fanfic, I'm also keeping up with the My Hero Academia manga at the moment, so I'm reading that as the chapters are released, so I can't really talk about that because it's a whole bunch of spoilers. But everything, just not everything's gone to shit there. Everything has been for a long time in that manga. I mean, there's literally a whole war going on, so like you would think that. But no, that's everything I've read. That's everything I've read this year so far. Am I on track for hitting my goal of 30 books this year? No. I think, what was it, I'm 23%? Yeah, 23% of my goal I've done, I've completed. But you know what, I'm pretty happy because, like, considering I haven't been reading loads, and like I've been trying to sort of, the thing is, I haven't been trying, like when I'm in a slump I don't try to read. I just read when I feel like it and when I feel like it, and like although I had that TBR, and it's nice to have that TBR to be like, so I can look through and think, oh, do I fancy any of these? No. And then I go to my shelf. I have a couple more rereads planned for October. Are they on that TBR list? No. Because I'm in my sci-fi thing right now, so I want to reread Leviathan Wakes. I've been meaning to reread The Expanse anyway. I only have the first two, but I've been meaning to reread them anyway. And my sister has given me access to her Audible, so hopefully I can, like, when I'm in this sort of like slump and I can't make myself sit and read, audiobooks are great. So yeah, so hopefully I can continue with the Expanse series because it's a series I really enjoyed and I kind of want to just, you know, get into it. Yes, I want to reread Leviathan Wakes. And I also want to reread The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet because it's been a while since I've reread that, and then potentially also reread the second one in that because I've only read the first two of those so far, and I thought there was only 3. Recently learned there's 4 now, so it's a series I really enjoy, so I really need to get back into that. But that's it for my recent reads. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been a while. Hopefully it won't be too long till the next video. I have some videos planned, they're mostly video games. I don't really have much reading stuff planned right now because I'm a bit out of the loop. I've not been on BookTube like for a while. Like I haven't been watching many videos. I need to go through and sort through my subscriptions because it's just stressful having all these people's videos who I once like really enjoyed watching because I solely only watched BookTube on YouTube. I don't anymore. I need to go through that and sort of like cut my subscriptions down so I can get back into it because I'm so out of the loop. And also B, I'm not really reading a great deal. I'm just reading very slowly, a bit at a time, just things, you know? So hopefully I can get back into it. Hopefully I can do something that isn't rereads and do some reviews, because reviews are some of my, although I don't consider them to be very coherent or anything, reviews are some of my favourite videos to make. So hopefully I can get back into that, but that's going to do me. So that's it from me. My battery is flashing at me, so I'm not going to do my whole long outro. But thanks so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day wherever you are, and I will hopefully see you in another video soon. Bye!